him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-a-magog, it's time for the only news that matters, and Wolfgang Van Halen has responded to the recent comments made about him by David Lee Roth back in January. You know, David Lee Roth was goofing on him and saying that Wolfgang had people that he invited backstage kicked out, and that he was complaining of management, that Wolfgang wasn't getting enough attention from David Lee Roth on stage, and so on and so on. And yeah, this was a couple months ago. Now Wolfgang finally answered that when they asked him. They said in a recent interview with the Morning X with Barnes and Leslie, they asked him, you know, what's going on with David Lee Roth, you know? Why is he saying all these things about you? So Wolfgang says, I guess I'm honored he even thinks about me as much as he seems to. I guess you have to take what he says with a grain of salt, considering he also said that he wrote Eruption and came up with the Frankenstein, Eddie's red and white black striped guitar. He said he wrote all the solos that Dad wrote. I guess that's all I can say. I seem to have been born into the Van Halen drama that has come way before me, and I guess now that my dad isn't here to be a target, I guess he went to the next best thing, his son. In an earlier interview with the Oakland Press, Wolfgang emphasized that he doesn't stress much over what Roth says about him. He says, it's one thing when there's some dude on Twitter being a jerk saying a lie about me, but when there's other people trying to lie about me and make me look bad, it's just like you can believe whatever you want, I guess. The people who hate me are going to continue to hate me, and I'm just going to be over here doing my thing. And of course, Sammy Belcher has to say something. I reported this before, you know, and when Dave went off on Wolfgang, Sammy said, look, if you really think about what he says, it's like, do I sense a little tinge of jealousy there or something? This is a guy that doesn't shut up about David Lee Roth. In every interview, he's got to slam at David Lee Roth for over a decade, maybe even decades at this point. Do I sense a big mess of jealousy from Sammy Belcher? Of course. Dave finally says one thing. Oh, he's jealous. And of course, when Dave does this, Sammy's got to come out again because he's jealous. To say, isn't Dave jealous? Oh my God. All right. And as far as Wolfgang goes, you know, Dave is nuts. I've done reports before of Wolfgang, David Roth, and yeah, there are a lot of comments that are, you know, people don't like Wolfgang, man. A lot of people leave comments that he's spoiled, he's this, he's that, you know. He might be. I'm not saying he is or not, but all I'm saying is that, you know, Dave is whacked out of his damn brain. It is true. I remember the interview where David said not only did he come up with Eruption, that he said he did every solo on that first album was written by David Lee Roth. Every solo. And remember when David Lee Roth said, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, he said, yeah, we're going to be headlining stadiums with the Foo Fighters and Guns N' Roses opening for us. I remember when he first said that, I was like, what? Foo Fighters and Guns N' Roses are going to be opening for Van Halen? Now, don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. Let's cut the deck. I like Van Halen way more than Guns N' Roses, and I don't even like the Foo Fighters. But I'm just saying that no way Van Halen is that popular that he would headline over those huge bands, because Foo Fighters headline stadiums, and so does Guns N' Roses, you know? So Dave said that, and I was like, what? No way. And of course, it never happened. And this was a few years before Eddie died, so it's not like, well, it was going to happen, but Eddie died. No, there was enough time went by where it seemed Dave was just talking out of his butt, man. And then remember, I even made a news story about this, that I was thinking, man, is David Lee Roth dying? Because when Eddie died, Dave came out and started saying stuff like, you know, hey man, I'm looking at my rearview mirror, I'll be joining you soon, or something like that. He was very cryptic about it, but it sounded like I'm dying. And many years, it's been what, 3-4 years now? And he's still alive, and I'm like, could it be that Dave was even jealous of Eddie when he died? So he tried to put out there, hey, I'm dying too? I don't know. I mean, knowing how whacked out David Lee Roth is now, I wouldn't put it past him to, you know, to lie about dying because of his ego, you know. And I've said it a million times, you know, as much as I hate Vangina, well, now they should be called Van Belcher. But as much as I dislike that, I blame David Lee Roth's ego. Because if it wasn't for David Lee Roth's ego, there would have never been a Van Belcher. It would have never happened, but his ego. And then there you go. You got Sammy Hagar. If they didn't get Sammy Hagar was bound to fail as a solo artist. He had his hit. Then he released his next album. Didn't do much. And everything after that, you know. That was the trajectory he was in until Van Halen saved his ass. And he got so much money from Van Belcher, that he ended up buying that Cabo Wabo and then selling it for $100 trillion. Van Belcher money got him that tequila, and it wouldn't have been I can't drive 55 money. You know, the way I see the whole Wolfgang David Lee Roth situation, Wolfgang really did, and has still till now, he's like walking on, you know, eggshells, talking about David Lee Roth. I mean, he alluded, the reason that, you know, A Different Kind of Truth ain't on Spotify is because Dave doesn't want it on Spotify. He said it as nice as he could. And then, what was the other thing he said about David Lee Roth? Oh yeah, that, you know, there's certain people that, you know, in the Van Halen camp that's making it difficult to do this tribute, and everybody thinks it's David Lee Roth, including me. I think it's David Lee Roth. But just by him coming out there and basically saying the truth really triggered David Lee Roth to the point where, you know, he pretended to talk to Jesus with a sped up voice and saying, you know, and talking, you know, Wolfgang's voice like, oh, I'm talented. My dad, you know, just because my dad is a god doesn't mean anything. I'm talented. I mean, he was just goofing on him. And, you know, Eddie wouldn't like that, man. Eddie wouldn't like Dave attacking his son. So it's very disrespectful to the memory of Eddie. This doesn't need to be aired, but I also think that Dave has lost his mind. Dave is slowly getting nuttier and nuttier and nuttier. I mean, you watch that Joe Rogan interview he did, the things he said during it, he's whacked. You know, he's always been wacky, but now it's gotten to the point where it's like, damn, dude, you know? He's really lost, I think he's lost his mind. I think it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse, you know? But, hey, man, I still love Dave. He's the greatest frontman ever. Not a big fan of what he is now, but whatever. I don't care. David Lee Roth is the greatest frontman I ever seen in my life. Back in the 80s, nobody can touch him. He was the king, and so was Van Halen. Van Halen were kings. And that's how I want to remember Diamond Dave. Not this bickering old guy, you know, that makes videos dancing around like a creepy uncle. But that's just my opinion. I still will love Dave in the past. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of the Wolfgang music, but I don't know. I feel like he doesn't really deserve all this bashing that Dave has given him. Because he never really bashed Dave. He just told the truth about Dave. And Dave is making fun of, and you know, you may be saying, well, he's saying the truth about Wolfie because Wolfie did have people kicked out of backstage and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but he also threw in the talent thing and how he's not, you know, alluding he's not talented and stuff like that. He was doing digs on Wolfgang as well. And I don't think the 32-year-old kid, because everybody calls him a kid, yeah, he's 32 years old, deserves it. That's how I feel. What do you all feel? If you feel the opposite than me, that Wolf is spoiled and whatever, and he deserved everything, leave it in the comments below. I welcome all comments as long as you're respectful, because if you're not respectful, I will make you disappear. I will send you to the cornfield. So thank you, everybody watching The Only News That Matters. I really appreciate everybody here, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and ring that little notification bell. And make sure, if you are subscribed, that you're still subscribed, because people are getting unsubscribed for no reason, and that ain't cool. And like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty, listen to Black Sabbath, and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so nevermore shall we see you again.